Well, obviously, still disappointed, not by the loss, just by how we played. And yet, I've got to look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what? It said there's going to be some ups and downs, and there's going to be some mind-boggling days where you just say, what's going on? And we had one. And I don't think that's indicative of how we play. I do think it's indicative of how Northwestern played, and they deserved every bit of what they got. I do think it was a learning experience for us. And that you have to play with energy every single day. And after watching film, Sunday night on the way home on a bus and all day Monday with the team, we got some things worked out. We have worked hard the last 2-3 days so that doesn't happen again. And we've got to make sure that everybody understands there's still a standard we play by. We don't care what everybody else does. So if some team plays better or worse, it's nothing to do with us. We've got to play at that level. And Greg Gard, I kind of, I've one of my favorite guys in the league for all he went through last year, and then to rebound and bring his team up after a 12-9 start, and share the Big Ten title. That showed tremendous withstance of pressure. It'll be a big challenge Friday. I mean, they were and are maybe the pick of our league. Iowa, them, Illinois, you could flip a coin. The one thing that they have going for them is experience. So it'll be a heck of a Christmas Day, nationally televised game that we're excited about. But I do think they're one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team. When you have 6 seniors on your team that are in the playing group, all 5 starters, a couple of redshirt guys. These guys have been around, longer than I have. I think some of them came into the league when I started in the league, and that has been that is awesome for Wisconsin. The 6 seniors, one of the most experienced teams, not in the league. They're one of the most experienced teams in the country, I think, for years beyond. They're balanced scoring with 4 guys averaging in double figures and a couple other guys averaging 8 and 9. They've got 8 guys playing at least 15 minutes. 1 or 2 freshmen are starting to get some time, but 90% of their players are experienced guys. Potter and Revere form one of the better front courts in our league, and in a different way. They can post up, they can shoot threes. They're big at 6'10", 6'11". They've created problems for us in the past. Potter's averaging 13 points, 7 boards. Reavers is 11 points and has 14 blocks. He's one of the block leaders in our league. So talented, experienced, well-coached. And the backcourt, we around here, we love the Trices. And this kid has done exactly what you hope student athletes would do. He's a great student, comes from an unbelievable family. He does everything right. I mean, he runs their team. And great backcourt with him and Davidson for sure. But Trice is the straw that stirs the drink. He makes shots, he makes passes, he very seldom turns it over. And what he did is he came out of high school, wasn't recruited quite as heavy as maybe he deserved to be, and he went to a 5th-year school and, redshirted at, I think, Wisconsin, and he's just kind of found his way, kind of like Josh Langford, and only Josh was more heralded coming out. So everything the Meats has gotten, he's deserved. And I wish I didn't have to play against him because, as I said, I love the family, love the kid. His mom and dad and I will probably talk tomorrow. And, he is the guy that we have to control. And but they got a lot of weapons. They got a lot of people that can beat you. That's why they got so many guys in double figures. So questions I'll take, but it is an exciting game for us, and I think it probably is an exciting game for them.
Go first, Max Silverman. Tom, you mentioned the other night, how sometimes you look at the film and it's not quite as bad, but you were pretty sure this time was going to be just as bad. I assume you feel the same way about that after having watched it?
Well, I felt a couple of things. Number one, boy, teams have hit some shots against us. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams because there were some threes made, and we've had 3 games where guys banked in a 30-foot three, and so that's that is for real, and that's not the player's fault. But the kind of the energy that we had coming off a decent week of practice, but it was finals and things like that, I thought was not adequate to what we expect here or that we normally get here. So I would say that I felt just as bad watching it in that respect, and not used to it, but I'm not used to anything this year. So hard to blame it on the players. They've been great as far as going through this COVID season, as far as, we just set 2 records today, got all our grades back, and set both a semester record and a cumulative record. And, I got a lot of great things to say about them, but they had to learn, and we had to show them, and we had to practice and explain that this year in this league, any year, but this year, I don't care who you play, where you play them, you better bring it.
Have they responded the way you hoped?
Yeah, they have. They have. We had 2 film sessions on Monday. We had a couple practices on Tuesday, one on offense, one on defense. It wasn't like total grinders. It was just to get some things straightened out. But as they say a lot in athletics, every play in football is designed to score a touchdown. Every play in basketball you hope is wide open. The X's and O's, everybody runs something different. As they say, it's more the Jimmies and Joes. And the Jimmies and Joes, I got good Jimmies and Joes. We just didn't play with the same kind of energy, and I said that was my fault. I still believe that, and that's my job. So hopefully we'll play with Spartan energy. I expect that. That might not be enough against a team like this. This is a very good basketball team and a very experienced basketball team.
Before we'll go to Jamal Spencer next. What do you need to see from Kithier for him to stay in the starting lineup, or what are you seeing from him that you were entrusted starting?
Yeah. DJ's kind of in charge of those bigs, and I think he would agree with this statement. Kithier does every little thing right, and stepping up on ball screens, communicating, doing this. So I'd like to see him scoring a little bit more. And to do that, we got to get the ball into the post a little bit. I think we didn't feel like our post could score it as well as I think they can. But he doesn't make any mistakes. That's the best thing I see out of him, that he's about as steady as the day is long. And kind of like a Matt Costello, except that he's got to score it more like Matt did. And he sets the right picks. He knows the offense. He understands what we're trying to do defensively. There was times we talked about taking him out of the starting lineup, and I was vetoed by my assistants because of the situations and things he does. So don't read all into the he's got to rebound better, you'd hope. But, for a lot of games, he was playing 10 minutes a game. He was just starting but playing 10 minutes a game. And I just think he gives you more than the naked eye will see. And even though everybody's gone analytics, around here we don't go analytics. We just kind of look at a guy and we go with the eye test on what he can do and how he makes other players better. When you got Rocket, Aaron, Gabe, Joey, and of course Aaron. Did I say Aaron twice? But I got 4 or 5 guys that can put the ball in the basket normally. And sometimes you don't want to have 7 or 8 guys because somebody's got to set a screen, make a pass, do those things. And I think that's what Kithier does for us.
Go next, Tony.
Yeah, Coach, a lot of people don't like to play on Christmas. Obviously, this year is different. When you found out you were playing on Christmas, was your initial reaction positive, or I can't believe we have to play on Christmas?
No, people are going to be very upset, but I was probably one of the proponents of it. And you got to understand why. You got to remember it all happened about a month and a half ago when it was crazy for a while there, and everybody kind of decided that nobody could go home. We talked to the parents, we talked to the players, And then the NCAA wanted to make it a 3-day deal where you couldn't practice or play a game during those 3 days of Christmas. And I said, that'd be a shame. I couldn't picture my guys sitting in their dorms or apartments and not getting a chance to play basketball, couldn't be around us, and yet had to be up here. So I thought for the mental health of things, and I did. I suggested the Big Ten. I talked to Juwan Howard about what it was like in the NBA playing on Christmas Day, and he said it's one of the biggest days of the year for the NBA players. So I thought then we could capture it. And then about 2 weeks later, the NBA decided they're coming back earlier than January, and we still captured some of it. And so I think the players are excited. I mean, it has been hard. There's nothing easy about it. There's no good decisions, too. Send them home and something happens. Every state's got its own different quarantine rules. If one of my players goes back to Texas or Alabama, there's different rules on how long you got to sit out coming back in. And we just felt that the safest, best place for them was here. And if they're going to be here, let's do what they love to do. Let's help the mental health of everybody and do what they really love to do, and that was play. Now, to be honest with you, when you have a family like I do or my staff does, that makes it a little harder on us. I mean, they're going to be, even if they went home, they'll see their family for a little bit, but they're going to be out with their friends. And for the people that are upset about it, I understand it, but we tried to do the best we could do with the cards we were dealt. And I wasn't going to leave my players in their dorms or their apartments, I should say, not able to do anything. So we fought like hell to make sure that we could do something special. And yeah, it's a little inconvenience, but remember, we played in Hawaii one year at Christmas. Nobody thought anything of that. And, I'm hoping that there's 500,000 living alums out there that are going to open up all their presents Christmas morning and turn on the tube and watch the Spartans at noon. And what better is that than that?
On a lighter note, what was your favorite Christmas gift you got as a kid?
Oh, by far, my Green Bay Packer Willie Wood uniform. I got the whole thing, and I said I went out in the grass and, played football on the side and had my helmet, had my jersey, had my pants, dragged my pants in the grass so I could have grass stains like the Packers did. Then when it started snowing, I felt like I was in the frozen tundra. By far, bar none, my favorite one was the Green Bay Packer pants and shoulder pads and uniform I got. And Willie Wood was one of my favorite guys, and that was it, for sure, Stoney.
We'll go next to Kyle Austin.
Hey, Tom, I'm gonna ask you real quick. Has Joey been okay after the knee thing? I think it was,
He's been a little slow. I mean, he practiced today, but didn't practice yesterday, and most of it, I hope, was precautionary. I mean, there's nothing. It's been MRI'd and IMI'd and X-rayed and everything else like they do now, but there's nothing there. It was a sprain, but sprains are different for every guy, and I'm hoping he'll be fine to go by Friday. Did go through, like I said, 2/3 of practice today, and then we just pulled him for that reason, but we'll see now how it reacts after doing a little activity and see how it reacts in the morning.
And then when I asked you about defense, it seemed like a couple weeks ago, you felt really good about how this team was playing defense. Has it been, you mentioned teams hitting shots, has that been a lot of it, or has it been something that's kind of fallen off a little bit?
If you look at Detroit, Oakland, and to be honest with you, Notre Dame at the very end, we've got a lot of guys that have hit 2 and 3 threes in the last 20 seconds, 3 times banked in shots in the last. Well, if those all miss, now your percentage is where I thought we were playing decent D. I thought teams hit some good shots. The other night, I thought we were atrocious. I just thought we were a step slow. And so we've looked at it. We're trying to simplify some things. And, we've grinded it a little bit here as far as our staff. And, I went back last couple nights and watched all of our games to see if, sometimes when you win, you kid yourself. Maybe a little bit of that, but remember, too, we're trying to get Joey back in the fold. We're trying to get Josh back in the fold. We're trying to get Rocket at a different position. We're trying to get some different things going, and so there's going to be a little slippage when you play 10, 11 guys like we have. There's going to be slippage on switching and stuff like that because everybody's not comfortable with one another. We can understand that. Making mistakes is part of the time of year and everything that's going on. Making effort errors is not part of the year and is not going to be tolerated, and that's kind of the way I felt about Sunday. And yet, I got to keep reiterating, take nothing away from Northwestern. They shot good, they played good, and I was impressed with them, to be honest. Depressed with us, but impressed with them.
Hey, Tom, I've been watching your press conferences like you watch game film, so bear with me as I make this observation. I think it'd be good if your fellow coaches nominated you the dean of the COVID era college coaches based on all that you've been through and how you've kind of taken this measured approach. Sometimes you're zen-like when you talk to us, but also professorial too, as far as looking at the effort that the players had that led to the problem, but also realizing that maybe the parents coming up may be the solution. So what do you think about that overall observation?
Well, I'm hoping that's true, but maybe I'm so honest with you guys, and I tell you exactly how I feel after a game, and maybe I'm making too big a deal out of when somebody shot good against us like Oakland did. I did not think there was a lack of effort on defense. That's why I didn't tell you guys. So we had one game, and it was after finals, and I don't want to make light of it, but I don't want to make the world of it. I mean, if some parents can come up in that, which they are going to be able to, I think that's going to be great. I think these kids have been through hell, but it's been the same for everybody. Been the same for everybody, and different states have approached it differently, and different conferences have approached it differently, and I think you bring up a good point there. You watch some games in Indiana, and there's a few fans there, which means the parents are there. You watch some games down south, and it's almost a full house. It's just a different, and we can't do anything about it, but you bring up a good point. I wonder what players think when they're watching another game and see, their families or girlfriends or anybody else that can go to those games. Maybe it has some effect on them. And I said that to you, we're going to have to deal with this strangeness of a season. And I told you at the beginning of the year, he who handles it best. Maybe we didn't handle it very well, but that was one game, I said we weren't the fourth best team. I think there's 2 or 3 teams, maybe 4 teams that are head and shoulders above the rest. And then there's 30 teams they've been jockeying. God, there's been teams that go from, hell, Virginia went from 2 to 18. It's the way it's going to be right now. Because I don't think anybody has a good feel, because not only do we not know who each other has, but there's so many transfers out there, and some have worked out good, and some have been a disaster. So you don't know that, and until a team gets more games, you really don't even know who you're playing sometimes. So that's going to be part of the trick, and I'm going to have to be psychologically homed in on those things and realize there could be other factors, and we just got to stay with the grind. And that's what we told our guys. They knew that they did not bring it. It wasn't a lack of, like I said, when you practice bad, you usually play bad. We got a saying out here, what starts out bad usually ends bad. We didn't practice bad. Now, we didn't practice 100 miles an hour the whole time because we were off 2 days. We had finals. We had strange thing this year. We had, I think, 5 kids with finals on Friday. Usually the profs give them earlier and get, so one of those things. But there's so many games left, and I think you guys should appreciate that the league is so damn good that I just don't know how many upsets there's going to be. I really don't. I think there's a lot of good teams out there, and you're going to have to play good every night to win games.
Got it, thank you.
We'll go next to Chris Delory.
Hey, Tom, you kind of mentioned that you might have the parents. I guess, first of all, how have those conversations been going, and when do you feel like you'll know for certain with that?
Oh, there's some parents coming for certain. It won't be all of them. We're trying to work out some testing things so that we can feel really comfortable, and we think we've got all those things. The university has done an incredible job on that. The parents are understanding, and we've talked to some of them, and moving forward, Christmas is hard even for parents to come because they come for one kid, but maybe they got 3 or 4 at home. So everybody won't be coming, but there are more than a few parents that we think are coming, and I think it's great. I mean, I really do. I said all along, nobody's a bigger advocate of wearing these things and doing your job and all the stuff you're supposed to do. But I look around our arena and I say, are we safer sitting here in section 127 or going to the grocery store or going to the gas station or, going to church, and and that's where I struggle sometimes, but I understand the reason is because people aren't disciplined enough to do what they're supposed to do, but they're not always that way in the stores either. So it's a tough thing. It's tough on our administration. It's tough on our state. And for the most part, I've agreed with it. I hope we don't shut down things. I just hope we get a little more educated, a little more understanding. And I've been pretty firm on that, and that's going to tick off half the people. But for a guy who's gone through it and watched some kids go through it, I think we could, if everybody would do it the right way and wear the mask and wash your hands and try to stay social distance and all that, I think we could open up a lot of things. That's me. But I don't disagree that sometimes we're not disciplined enough to do those things.
I got a two-part follow-up with that kind of goes into all that. One, from a psychological standpoint, is there a concern that the players might start to press knowing that their parents are there? And two, because Northwestern over the years has been such a heavy Michigan State crowd, was it noticeable when you guys were trying to make that comeback that there weren't anybody there?
That's a good question. I think the second one is really good because it has been a big Michigan State crowd over there, and and they've got a beautiful new arena. So I don't know if it would be quite the Michigan State crowd because I think Northwestern is starting to. They've really done a nice job over there. Their AD has been great, and Chris has done a good job. So I don't know, but that was probably, because when you go on the road and you got your fans pulling for you, that's a big deal. So that helped. As far as the first question about the parents, that's one of the many obstacles that we have to deal with this year, and first-time things and things like that. You try to do all the good things, and one of the things we did in our arena is I told you we put up some of the people that have helped me or have passed away, and one of them was Julius's dad. And we had put that up a couple days ago, but we practiced in the Ox Gym. First time we practiced down there, and it was a tough day for him. I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it, I'm honoring him. But you never know how people take it. He was great about it. After, 15 tough minutes, he kind of realized that how lucky he is. He gets to look over at him and this and that, and that we're honoring him. But everybody takes things differently, and that's the way, Dwayne Stevens went over and talked to him because his dad is up there. How those kids respond to that stuff, I don't know. It's going to be different. Are they going to be excited? Are they going to be overexcited? I don't know. I don't know, and that's part of why every game and every day of this season, when you're in something like this, that no blueprint can tell you what to do, you just adjust and advance, and that's what we're going to try to do.
We'll go next to Brendan Quinn.
So obviously over the last 2 years, when you're in a key possession late or a late shot clock, doing right at cashes. And before that, probably Miles, right? Before that, you had the kind of singular go-to, whatever you want to call it, right? Go-to guy. And now, if you're a late game and you're huddled up and you're looking around, what's kind of going through your head of what to do?
Well, it's a fair question. I think it's one that hasn't been handled yet. I said with With Joey, we think we got a guy that can pick and pop and really shoot it, but he can really pass it. With Josh, we think we got a guy who can get a shot for himself. And with Aaron, we think we got somebody who could post up or be on the perimeter and get to the foul line. And yet we're going to look at a few things with Rocket that we think he can do, but we're trying to take it one step at a time. I would say right now that's not totally solved, but I could tell you a lot of years, even Miles' year, when that wasn't totally solved 6 games in. So it's not something I panic over. I wish I had a magic statement for you, but that's pretty normal with a lot of teams right now. I mean, I'm not sure in our league. I think Illinois will go to AO, like Wisconsin. I mean, they got all kinds of guys that make shots, but I don't know one guy that can get a shot except for maybe Trice. Iowa, if you let them throw it inside, that's their one guy. I don't know if those are go-to guys, but I would say right now, Brandon, we're lacking that. But at the other side of it, we got 4 guys in double figures, so we got to figure out how to best handle that. And we have some things that we want to do with 2 guys in a ball screen that we think each guy offers something, but Joey's, been a little hurt and is just trying to get the rust off. And so that's going to take a little time.
Also, you said 3 or 4 teams have separated themselves. All right, so Baylor, Gonzaga, what do you have to do?
I think Baylor and Kentucky have. I still think Iowa not Baylor and Kentucky, Baylor and Gonzaga have, and I still think Iowa is. I think Wisconsin is. I mean, they get beat on a missed free throw tip in, and I think Illinois is an interesting team because they've played the world, and but they got a go-to guy. They really do. And yet, when they went to him in the Rutgers game, he maybe struggled a little bit at times. But I think those 3 or 4 teams are at the top of the list right now. I don't think that there's many others as you're seeing what's happening either with Duke or, Villanova is pretty solid, but they've had some tough games. But you'd probably put them there since you're a Philadelphia guy. St. Joe's isn't quite there yet. Not yet, but that's a good point. I haven't looked at the list. This week I've spent everything on Michigan State, so I haven't really looked at the list. But I'll tell you who I think is going to be a top 10 team soon, if they aren't already, and that's Rutgers. I mean, Rutgers to me is one of the more well-coached. They've got experience at every position. They got size. They got strength. What's the name has become a go-to guy. And their good guard has not even played much yet. So the size they got and toughness, I think they're one of the tougher teams in the league from what I hear.
We'll go last question to Nick Mantis.
Coach, with a lot of Spartan alums who are going to be playing tonight in the NBA, you're going to be watching those games tonight and see how they do? I try to watch all my guys. I've watched a few exhibition games already. I've talked to a few of them, and I know Draymond was not playing yesterday because of, his COVID, I think it was, or injury, one of the two. But I'm going to be watching as many as I can. It's always a fun thing. I really didn't look on who was playing Christmas Day, if any of our guys are, because I got my hands full myself. But whenever I have a free moment, the nice thing about having a couple guys on the West Coast like Gary and Draymond, and even in the case of whatchamacallits with the Bucks now, Bren, our time changed. So when I come home, I can get home at 10 o'clock or 10:30 and watch those guys just starting the games. So. Yeah, I take great pride in that. We did something really cool in our arena. I've got a deal where we've got every alum that ever played for me. And I started looking at those cutouts today, and I said, wow, no wonder why we won some championships. No wonder why we got to the Final Four. Coach gets credit. Players deserve what they've done. And it was a real cool day for me to see all those up there today. I
hoping you enjoy them as you get to see them.
Thank you, Coach. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to all you guys. I hope with your families and stuff, you hang in there. I guess you're going to have to spend some time for your job watching us from 12 to 2, but hopefully the rest of the time you can enjoy yourself. And if you got families, enjoy them. If you don't have families, you can enjoy some things that way too. So have a good time. Happy holidays to all of you. And I'll look forward to talking to you after the game on Sunday. Cheers.